Good morning, Floss Tube. This is Pam, Stitching Between the Lines. Today's Thursday, June 25th, 2020, and this is Floss Tube video number 80. 80, that's a big number. That's awesome. I've been, after Mania, it's kind of a dry spell, maybe, of video making. I see across the room a piece I finished and forgot to gather and bring here. Darn, I will get up and go get it. And y'all can admire the quilt for a half a minute. Sorry, we're in a spot we've been before. This is my corner of my craft room. My sewing machine is right here. My TV where I can watch all the important stuff is right there. The quilt. The quilt is, everybody asks every time, is Little Red Barns by the Quilt Company. And they did another one, which I also made. This is actually the second one of two I made, called, it had houses. So it might have been Home Sweet Home, something like that, by the Quilt Company. And the pattern's still available. I have a cat moving around my feet here. Never know what he's up to, so I'm not really sure. If I keep looking down, it's at him. So anyway, I have had a hard time coming to make a video. We're gonna talk about this once, and that's gonna be the end of it, because I can obsess. So I'm trying, there's some few things I'm trying very hard not to obsess about, but it's kind of hard, because it sort of rules our life right now. Regarding, let me see, how do you start? I spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I spent a lot of time thinking about why I was so upset about it and what I should say about all the things. Just in general, first it was all the things. A lot of floss tube makers have addressed a lot of the Black Lives Matter issue. And yes, I stand for all the things. I grew up in a very diverse high school. I can't even tell you, no, we're not even going there. Not even. Because this isn't about that. This is about what has happened within our floss tube and social media family of late. These are my thoughts. These are my feelings. My thoughts and my feelings are not wrong. Nobody, I mean, just, if you're thinking about some kind of snide or snarky comment, move along. We're not here for that. What I see happening, this is not, and it's not my story to tell, so I'm not going to go into it. I just know a lot of people have been hurt. There's been posts that are heartfelt that people have made on Instagram and on whatever social media, and there's been some very unkind words said. So as I thought about what, still, people say unkind words. I'm not stupid. We raised our kids. My kids were young teens, preteens when social media was born. So there's lots of talk about your tone, what you say, and how people don't always interpret your tone or don't understand where you come from when you say something. So I understand there's some things and some misunderstandings and maybe some legitimate comments back that don't really belong there. I think, and what I finally landed on is it's the piling on that has offended me and upset me the most. We teach our kids, when they see somebody being bullied, you sure as heck don't pile on. You don't pile on. You take the high road, you keep your mouth shut, there's going to be some changes in our social media floss tube world as a result of this, and it's upsetting. It is upsetting. I've tried to educate myself, going backwards and forwards, and read everything I can, and I know what happened, but I don't know fully all the things that have happened as a result. But it has made me sad that we've treated each other this way. So I will not entertain negative comments. If you feel the need to say, well, you're a stupid idiot and I don't come here to see anybody preach about whatever, this isn't all about you. This is my channel. This is my stitching. I don't think anybody else's channel is all about me and that they should conduct themselves in only a way that satisfies me or only talk about projects that only satisfy me. So anyway, take a deep breath. Let's move on. Let's move forward. Let's be better people. And let's stitch, because we're still stuck at home, most of us, spending an awful lot of time at home. Missing our families, missing our people, missing our regular things. And we're fortunate that we have a hobby that brings us joy, although of late I'm a little skeptical at the moment. By the end of this video, it'll all be good, because we're going to talk about lots of things. I've been busy. So Mania ended. We did those things in the last couple videos. After Mania got over, I decided to start picking, as I said in the last video, some of the smaller things and spending a week on them, because I am not carrying some of these through to next year's Mania. I am not carrying them so far that I need to do a big push before Mania next year to get them done like I did this year. Some of these smaller things, there's just no reason they should be neglected. I bought them, I kitted them, I started them for a reason. One of the things I know about myself is that I like a bigger project. I like a project with a little bit more meat, and I don't want to put it down. I want to make progress, and sometimes when I'm working on something else, I wish I was back working on that other thing. So some of the small stuff I want to keep, so that I have like a little something to pick up when I need a little something. So I started out doing 1 week and finishing a project, and then starting the next one on Monday. Like Monday to Sunday seems to be my cycle. And essentially I've pretty much up until Sunday been working on each item as I went. And then I came to, I'll just start with the most recent. I came to Farms of Hawk Run Hollow, and you know how these ginormous projects are. You don't think things are going to take long. So just as a quick recap, I did the big block last year for Mania, and once it was done, I never picked it up again. So this year's Mania goal was 2 more blocks. I did this one. It took me a solid week. Now my week actually ended up being 9 days long, because for 2 whole days I didn't stitch a thing. So had I kept going on track with this one, it would have only taken a week. And then I started the next one 2 days ago, I think, and it's going to take a long time. So I think I'm going to stick with this particular block up until I start what I planned for July. So here's a picture of Farms of Hawk Run Hollow with the big one. This one I foolishly thought was one of the least amounts of stitching blocks. Ha ha, ha ha, joke's on me. Those little nests are incredibly tedious. And even the chickens are a little tedious. A couple of the chickens, 3 of them to be exact, alternate a lot of black and white, and that's a little fussy. And but even if that's not the least amount of stitches in a block, I think this is the most amount of stitches in a block. And so this is the one I'm doing now. This tan background, like hay or straw or dirt or whatever it's trying to be, is 2 colors. Like it alternates 2 colors, and then there's one of the original colors plus a whole different color over here, I think, just to make it look a little darker, shadowy. And then there's these 2 cats, which are very unusual looking. I don't even know what to say. I get it. I mean, but there's things I'm not caring for. They had, like, in the stitching, they had claws, and they were like a bunch of straight stitches, which looked really weird. And then this guy's tail, in the pattern, it showed like 3 rows of black to make his tail. And then it had 2 different colors of thread with some long stitches over it, which I think was supposed to make it look like its tail was, you know, puffed out, like it was scared, you know. In the picture, it doesn't have all that black under it. It just has all this weird straight stitching for its tail. I just thought that just looked too weird for me. I have cats. None of my cats look weird like that. I mean, they could look weird occasionally, but I'm still working on them. They don't have any eyes, and whatever. I just made his tail. Cooper got up on the sewing machine. If Cooper comes over here, there's going to be some falling of items. So that's what I am working on and may stick with through the July 4th weekend. What do you want? I know, see, you get scared when you knock things down. Excuse me. Oy, you knocked my thimble off the sewing machine. In July, I plan to dedicate 1 week to one larger project per week. And I will start that after July 4th. July 4th weekend is always big for us and our family. One of my kids' birthday falls during that stretch of time. My son is coming home, and my girls will be here, and significant others will probably be here, and for sure, some mix of, and we live on the water, so we do a lot of things outside. So that's sort of my safety bubble. Everybody is, living a very quiet, isolated life. So we don't feel especially uncomfortable coming together. Like I said, everybody's working from home, or my girls that are teachers aren't working at all anymore. The school year's done. So anyway, there we go. So what else have I done? We're going to have to start with the FFOs. So now we've gone out of sequence. I am sorry if anybody's really caring. If anybody's taking notes, we're all over the place. As you know, I finished all of the Annie's Christmas ornaments that were a monthly last year. They're all finished exactly the same. So let's just review real quick what I did. I stitched them all. I stitched them on the red dot, which I don't think was a good decision. I finished them as pillows, and I like my pillows really flat. So I fill them, close them, and then I put the iron on them. And if it's a really, really big, even a little pillow, I spritz it a little bit. In this case, spritz the back. And then I hold the iron on them, and it just sort of flattens them out nicely. And then I tightened up the corners by putting all the buttons on, and so they go all the way through. So you can see where they indent the back a little bit. I had put a piece of ribbon in the seams when I sewed it so that I could loop the hanger through it, and then I tied a piece of twine for a bow. To me, it's simple. All that checkered border doesn't need a whole lot of busyness. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Finishing is not my forte. I can do it. I do okay. I don't love it. I don't look forward to it. And so this took some dedication. Took me probably more than a week. So they will be really cute. I have all the farmhouse Christmas, is that what it is? Ornaments that have a lot of black and white checker. Cooper, what are you doing? It's going to be one of those kind of days. They're cute. So I've done 12 of them. There were actually 14 because 2 of the patterns came with a little bonus, but I only had 12 pieces of this fabric. 12, I'd already cut 12 little squares, and there wasn't any more. So I didn't even have to think about it. I wasn't making more. Aren't those great? So I did those. That was a good do. That was good. And then the very first thing that I dedicated a week to was Jardin Privé's marquee. And we all know, I think you've all been with me on this agonizing trail of stitching this guy. Lady, I know she's a lady. And I made it into a project bag. I had a little bit of this like Eiffel Tower fabric, not a lot. So I enhanced and matched with some other, making a project bag. It's a good sized project bag. I didn't even have enough of the Eiffel Tower to fully line it, so I've sewed on a piece of muslin. And even the muslin in the back is pieced. Probably I was just using up a little scrap of muslin I had. And it is a nice sturdy project bag. This, I have quilted this. I have run some diagonal 45-degree angle stitching through it, crosshatch, 2 inches apart, super easy. Oh, look at that. I'm going to be busy. You don't see these things until you start holding them up. I will take a very large needle and stick it in there and like swoop those tails so that they fall under the stitching. It's easy to do on cross-stitch fabric. It's harder to do on a quilt, but it's doable. So that project bag is done. Another project that I spent a week dedicated to was Most Wonderful Time of the Year. Called for, everything's called for here. I think even maybe the fabric, I don't know. I'm feeling like the fabric came with it, but I'm not sure. These don't usually come in a kit. I don't really know. Or I kitted it up a million years ago. 2 years ago maybe. And yeah, it came out in 2017. And I know I had it right away. So that's fun. No idea what's happening with that one. This one I did. I love this little Surfside Cottage, which I changed the words to say Lakeside Cottage. You can see right through that. Love the fabric. It is the called for. Probably it's still on. The tag is still here. It is 28 count Country French Blue. I don't really know who it's by. If you want to know, just put it in the comments and I'll look it up. Inside, I don't want to open the pattern and spend your time looking for it. So that's really, really, really cute. I did that. And then the piece that I just forgot because it was over on my cutting table was Beach. This was another week-long dedication. Pattern is still in the project bag. A Rovaris. I have an idea for a finish. I'm uncertain yet if that's what it'll be. This was one of the 32 count Picture This pluses, and I didn't want to do it with one. I wanted the bold coverage. So there it is. Like I said, no conclusion yet, but I do think I have a plan. Oh, and another one. How many weeks has there been? Not that many. So I think there were some weeks when I actually finished 2 things. I don't know. I don't keep a journal. August, Pine Mountain. Snapshot. That's it. This was so fun. It's cute. And it matches Timeless Treasures Florida fabric. At this cross-stitch store in Florida where I bought this pattern, and maybe they had the fabric too. Pretty sure. I don't remember going anywhere and finding this fabric. So maybe at the store. They had changed the word August to Florida. Well, that was beyond my scope, and it wasn't like a pattern they gave us. Not really sure if they would have had I asked. I don't know. It didn't matter. I made it August. Everything's called for. It's on a piece of, I think, 28 count, some of that MCG you can't get anymore that I love because it's so supple. So there we go. Those are the whips and the FFOs. Oh, I have to leave again. Oh my gosh. Be right back. Did you admire the quilt for a few minutes? There you go. In case I'm blocking a part you really wanted to see. We'll get to that in a minute. It occurred to me that I hadn't brought this over. So what I'm going to do in July, 1 week per project, is Paula Vaughn's July. Where's the picture? There it is. A lot of these, most everything, if I have anything patriotic that I'm working on, that's what I'm going to do. And here is July. I haven't worked on it one single stitch since Mania. It's 1 day's work. Part of one of the flags and a part of another flag on the quilt on that porch swing. This is in a very important project bag. It's not like I don't have empty ones. I don't know. It's just where it ended up. I'll swap it around though. The other thing I will work on for 1 week is Flag Folk by Not Forgotten Farm, a pattern I bought at Spring Green Country Sampler with their conversion on a piece of their conversion fabric that they use, which is Murky Picture This Plus. I don't have a lot done. Whatever I did on the 1 day of Mania. So we're just giving you all a starting point. And if I remember, I'll take pictures. Sometimes I remember. Most of the time I remember after I have already started. And then I snap a picture. So it's one of those things. The third thing that will get some time and attention for a week in July is Prairie Schoolers July. See, 2 things named July. Here's the starting point on that. I don't know why there's 2 needles. I think I just unearthed one somewhere when I had it out. There's a lot of work to do on this one. Somebody posted this as a finish on a Facebook page, and I was staring at it. This might have been last night. I'm like, oh, I really do have a lot. I think I have a lot done because I have the house and the grass done. There's a lot going on. Oh, I don't even have the grass all the way done. There's a lot going on here. I'm not fooling myself. It's not going to get done in just a week. So that's number 3. Number 4 is going to be my Mirabilia Mermaids of the Deep. Again, I started this with some random stitches one afternoon, so that it really wasn't a Mania start, but it kind of sort of, I mean, that's really the only time I worked on it. One of the ladies, this one is who I've gotten ever so little bit stitched. See, pretty. So that will carry me through July. I'm not doing Jolly July. We all know I work on Christmas year-round, and ornaments, a little bit. You know, I just did 12. I work on them a little bit. I don't have any real desire to start a whole trunk load of ornaments because I've been stitching ornaments. I remember my very first real ornament I stitched the summer of 1992. So I have a few ornaments, more than I can manage sometimes. So no need to start anything new. I'd like to start new things. In fact, I have to reach behind me, excuse me. Put all those 12 ornaments on top of this. I said during Mania, I gave myself a pass that I could start something that wasn't on my official list. I still haven't started it because I'm agonizing over the fabric. I had a piece of 32 count Picture This Plus. I don't remember what with it. And my new discovery that 32 count is not what I like stitching on with 2 threads, and I want coverage. I needed to rethink it, so I pulled out a piece of 28 count Lakeside Linen Vintage Country Mocha, which doubloon is what I had, and this is exactly like doubloon. I have a giant piece. I just haven't cut it down yet because I'm not sure what I like about this for this pattern. Is it sort of like that antique-y looking walls in the back of the store? But I was torn for some reason. I ordered the called for a 30 count. It's a gray. It came. I don't love it. So I don't think I'm even thinking about that one anymore. So I think I will be cutting and serging a big piece of this. I don't know if I will have the urge to start it. It just depends on what's going on and what happens. So there. Shoo. I've been shopping. I don't often and I'm not going to show you everything I got because there's just not need. But I'll show you the quilt pattern book I bought. I love Art to Heart, which I have some of their cross stitch patterns too, but what I have is a lot of their books. And we'll even talk about what caught my eye the most. They're just whimsical and fun. What I really want to do in Christmas fabrics is this table topper, holly and berries. So I have a collection of Christmas fabrics that I will look through and maybe make that. I'm trying to, I have a very different sewing space than I used to. So I'm really trying to work on anything that's like already started in a box, taking up space. So I have a second quilt. I finished one. It's kind of a whimsical quilt from a, we did this thing in my quilt guild. If anybody really cares, we'll talk about it. This is what the cat's trying to sleep on. We did a thing in our quilt guild where we called it the pizza box challenge. And we all put some fabric in a pizza box. Like, I think it had to be a minimum of two 2-yard cuts. And then whatever other fabric you wanted. And and then you passed it around. Like, you made 2 12-inch blocks to get it started, and then it passed to somebody else who used only your fabric and made 2 12-inch blocks, and then it went around until it came back to you, and there were 12-inch blocks in there. And it was fun. I really, there were a lot of people who didn't want any part of that, and that's fine. I really enjoyed looking at other people's fabric that they had assembled and looking at what blocks other people had made them, and then trying to make something that complemented it. I really enjoyed it. I was happy to go every time and get a new box and bring it home and work on it. And so a lot of people don't want a quilt that other people have created an element of, but it was all in fun. And I went in my stash and I looked at what I had 2 yards of. Sorry, I hear noise out there in the other room. I see one of the cats over there, so I know it's not that cat. So anyway, sorry. Squirrel. So I put in my box 2 yards of these 2 fabrics, I think. The blue and the paw prints. And then I had a lot of other fabrics that I threw in there, and then people used them to make blocks. So I'm still sewing the binding on. That's where the cat got the thimble, is that I was doing that this morning. So let me see what I can show you. There is technically a top. Let me just look. Oh, I've worked my way to the bottom. And so then you get them back and you set them somehow. So I have set mine 3 across on point, and then I created some blocks to fill in that have an applique cat on it. So most of these blocks are made by somebody else. It's not a real giant quilt. Again, I made the applique cat blocks. I just wanted to put a few of the colors in that weren't really brought in to the quilt in general. I mean, here and there. I know this pinwheels block is one of the ones I made. And let's see, what else did I make? It's been a while, because we did this like we started this like last October. I must have maybe made this one, but I can't swear it. So it's not a huge, it's like a lap quilt size, and already everywhere I leave it, the cat sleeps on it. So I think it will be a good one to throw over the couch or a chair or whatever when we're trying to prevent cats oversleeping on the furniture, and we're, making a spot that's just full of cat hair. So that was just whimsical and fun. Now let's see if we can get the quilting in there, because the quilting is just hysterical. I bought a pattern that is a cat, and he's looking out a window. So here's the window, And here's the cat. And if you can see the cat, he's a big healthy cat. And our Murphy, as sweet as he is, this cat, looking away from you, the viewer, here's his tail, he's like Murphy. He looks like Murphy, he's just Murphy. So there was no question as to what pattern I would put on here. It is so stinking cute. I mean, really. Except that Murphy's lost a chunk of his tail. This could be Murphy. This could be Murphy pre-tail amputation last summer. This time last summer. He was recovering from that horrid ordeal. So he's good and healthy and fine now. So I made that one, and I have another one that is all folded up over there that's ready to go on the long arm. I was planning to do that today. We'll see where the day goes. It's already 11:30. I've done all the laundry and the ironing and everything. So I've been busy doing all the things. Anyway, so I've avoided this subject long enough. So when I made the discovery that I was not a huge fan of the 32 count Pictures Plus, which is my favorite design or dyer, so I'm sorry I have to keep saying that. I went on a quest. My daughter has picked up cross stitching, and so I gave her a lot of my 32 count, and I placed an order for some 28 count Picture This Plus in my favorite colors, so I'm restocking my stash. And then I went to Kit and Stitcher and I ordered some fabrics. Yeah, I'm a big fan of neutrals unless I really know what I'm going to stitch on it. I don't want too many bizarre colors. I like to pick something in as I go. But I wanted to try out some different dyers. So I have a piece of X Jude Designs, name Light Hazelnut. It's 32 count. So I'm not averse to 32 count all across the board. Zweigart, a piece of vintage Sahara, I think it says. It's a pretty yellow base, yellow kind of, very pretty, neutral-ish. And then another piece of Zweigart 28 count Ivory Lugana. I am a big fan of even weave ivory. That looks browner than it is. So I did that. I got that from Kit and Stitcher, and then my Picture This Plus order will be in probably before the summer's over. I ordered in May. It's a possibility. So I think I ordered a bundle, and I ordered some pieces. Yeah, I did that. And then I finally got a couple of these Madame Chantilly tiered trays that I'm a huge fan of. I watched Pam and Steph one day, and I said, you guys, I stopped the video twice to go shopping. Twice, 2 times, not just once. And I didn't even jot it down and wait till the end like a responsible viewer might do. So I had to send him a comment, and I was like, good job. You guys get, the star today. One of the ones I went to get, had to go get, was sweater weather. I grew up in the late 70s and 80s, and sweaters were the thing. You wore sweaters. Like, we were all about our sweaters. So sweater weather, those really struck my fancy. And then Steph had gone off to Etsy and purchased this one. It's by a Etsy shop called Spooky and Steve. Spooky and Steve. I have no idea who Spooky is, nor do I know who Steve is, but I'm going to hold it here for a minute so you can find their Etsy shop. I wonder if Spooky's the cat. Do you see how Spooky's a cat behind here? Steve would be a person. Purchased and downloaded this pattern, which I just love. I like anything that's sort of the, Santa's, baking, hot cocoa, that kind of stuff. I can make an effort to link it below. I do this, and I can do it exclusively all on my iPad, but on your iPad it's difficult, awkward, cumbersome to cut and paste, because on an iPad you can't have like 2 windows open at once. So I say stop the video and see. I just searched for it. I'm not sure I knew anything more because I just stopped the video to do it. I don't even think I went below. Another thing I got, sorry, I'm moving this thing out of the way, was The Prim Village by Lori Holt. Be in My Bonnet. Who did this one? Or It's So Emma. All in the family there. I watch Barbara's daughter, Kim, and she is working on making this a more primitive Christmas pattern. I hope to do the same. I jotted down all the threads she used for it. She hasn't quite stitched with all those thread combinations yet. I maybe will go through my own things. We'll see. We'll see. Nobody's holding their breath. All right. All right. Is everybody sitting down? Is everybody looking up? I watch Country Stitchers, Deb and Liz and Deb. And we did a house tour with Deb while they were separate. And Deb has a very, very pretty log cabin style home, and she showed things that she had made. And then when everybody oohed and ahed over things and wanted information, she presented the information. So I don't necessarily have all the information. I can tell you basically in words how to get this. She showed her completed picture that looks like this. I think it's just called Noel. And she took it she got it as a class. My understanding is, because this is stitched, but this is all fancy stuff down here. So it came from, Hirschner's is stuck in my brain, and it's not Hirschner's. Who does the magazine? Stony Creek. Okay. So it came from Stony Creek, and it was not available any longer, but so many people were requesting it that they made it available again. So at first they said email them, and then in the email it said we're making it available on our website in the next week or two. And so if you go to Stony Creek's website to shop, the front page of the website has a lot of little blocks that you can click on for what it is you're shopping for. Down in the bottom row, I believe it's the first one in the bottom row, might be called Designer Series. It's in there. That's where it is. And my intention is to only do this up here. I don't want to do specialty. This to me doesn't enhance the picture for me, for what I really like about this. So that's my intent. I may start it on a big enough piece of fabric that if I so chose to keep going down with it, I could, because it just looks like lace. It looks so elegant, pretty. So that was really, I was really excited to be able to get that. It's very exciting that patterns, designers will release patterns when there is, when there's a desire for it. This one was in 2009 Stitching Jubilee. I don't know anything about that, and its name is Noel. My understanding is that it was a class. If not, maybe it was I don't know. So, anyway. That's a good one. I'm not really ready to kit that up or anything yet. I'm just ready to like prop it up somewhere and admire it for a while, like I like to do with patterns. So I don't forget I have them by putting them in the box. So I leave them spread out all over my room. There's a whole pile across the room that is my market purchases that my sister got, and then what I ordered afterwards because she couldn't get everything. They're still out because I don't want to put them away. Then I see things I was so desirous of a couple years ago that I still haven't stitched. So this amount of purchasing is like a year's worth for me, only because I have a lot, and because sometimes patterns come out and I think, oh, you know, I have that. I have something like that. I stitched something like that already. Um, I don't know what's happening. I do know what's happening. We're all shut in our house, and we fuel each other's hobby here, and it's fun, and it's all, you know. I want to say it's all in good fun. I don't know. It is what it is. So anyway, I think we're supposed to get some rain this weekend. Finally, our yard looks like it's all like we're growing hay instead of grass. It's so brown, you don't want to walk on it. So I'm hopeful. It rained, like it pretended to rain one afternoon. It thundered and made a lot of noise, and there was only a little tiny bit of rain. And then it rained a little bit, a very brief stretch of rain the next day. But I believe this weekend we will get some rain. Fingers crossed. I don't think any of my kids are coming. I tell them they just come. Just give me a heads up so I have a little bit of groceries in the house. Nobody has said anything, and it's already Thursday. So we'll see. We'll see. Sometimes they look at the weather and they see it's going to be rainy, and they aren't interested in just coming here to hang around the house. So I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody is stitching up a storm. I don't want it to be a long summer. I read somewhere on, somebody posted somewhere, something, I don't know. One of the places I get a lot of like funny little witticisms that crack me up is on Pinterest. It said something like, July, come on in, take a seat, and don't make a sound or don't say a word, nothing. We need a little bit of a reprieve. We just found out this morning on the news that the, crap, what are they? Those moths are back that eat all the leaves on the trees. But it kind of stormed, and the wind blew a lot the other day, and I wondered why there were like pieces of leaves stuck on the screens that were like just chewed up chunks of leaves. Gypsy moths. That's what they are. The gypsy caterpillar. The caterpillars are back that lead to gypsy moths, and the caterpillars are crunching up the trees. And that is, you know, a sad and unfortunate thing. On the news, they said they usually only, you know, they cycle through for a few years and then they move on, but they can strip a tree. So, darn it. Come on. Anyway. July. Every time we turn the calendar page, we're like, oh, please let this month be a calm, mellow one. So, let's hope. Let's hope. Let's hope. All right, guys. We'll see ya. Bye.